Welcome to Clever One. In this video, we will take a look at the MPR tab within a 3D scan. First, we begin by double-clicking the scan we want to open. Once the scan is open, by default, we are on the MPR tab. The default layout is shown here, consisting of the axial, sagittal, and coronal views on the right of the screen, and the 3D window on the left side here. To full screen any of these views, click on the Maximize button, which is located in the upper right corner of each view. Click the same button, which now minimizes that window back to its panel. To customize how your screen is displayed, click the Layout button here. Select Desired Layout. To make any of these layouts a default, right-click on that choice. I'm going to switch to the 4-window layout here. There are several ways to navigate around these views. Use the scroll wheel on your mouse to move through your slices. When scrolling on a certain view, it is adjusting the position of the plane line on the opposing view. For example, if I scroll on my axial view up or down, the blue line on the coronal and sagittal also are adjusted. You can adjust your plane slices left or right by grabbing the line in between the two markers. Everything is color-coded. The coronal plane is yellow, which is moving from front to back. The sagittal plane is red, which is moving from left to right. And the axial plane is blue, which is moving from top to bottom. For example, if I want to get a view of the left side of the mandible, I will move my axial line on the coronal view down until I can see the mandible on the axial view. On the same axial view, I can then move both plane lines over my mandible by dragging from the center point of them or by double-clicking right on the mandible. I am then going to rotate my sagittal line so I am right in the center of the bone on the left side. To rotate any of these plane lines, select the area near the edge of the panel until you see the rotation arrow and adjust. Now I have a clear view of my left side and the mandibular canal. Again, I can maximize my windows by clicking the Maximize button in the upper right. I am going back to my original layout where the 3D is maximized. This 3D panel has some additional options. There are preset positions on the bottom here. Also, you can right-click and drag to move your image around. I can also use the scroll button on the mouse to zoom in and out. I can also zoom in or out of the 3 MPR images on the right side by holding down the Control button on the keyboard and using my scroll wheel. In the upper corner, there is a clipping feature. To enable it, click the slider button and choose a direction you wish to cut away from. For example, if I want to cut away to the patient's occlusion, I will select Axial and move the slider from F foot to H head. Let's talk about some of the most used features on the left panel. Taking a look on the left panel to the 3D rendering section. Preset views for the 3D render include the teeth mode, the bone mode, the grayscale MIP mode, and the soft tissue mode. To adjust your density of the 3D image, click on the Settings button. You can click on the green graph and move the whole slider left or right to adjust the density of the image. Below that are slider adjustments for opacity, brightness, and contrast. Below this is where the windowing section is. These settings only affect the axial, sagittal, and coronal views. Sliders for width and level adjust the image brightness and contrast. Next is the bone density checkbox. Click this to display the bone density values on the axial, sagittal, and coronal. Click the gear button here to relate the colors to a value. Click the small arrow below this, here, to show additional checkbox options for Smooth, Sharpen, Inverse, MIP, which stands for Maximum Intensity Projection, and the Max Sharpen button. These can also be set in your settings if you want to default any of these settings. Under the Simulation section is where we can insert an implant and also draw a curve. To put in an implant, for example using the AI features, click on Insert Implant. Choose your tooth number and implant type, and ensure the Smart Placement is selected, and click OK. To draw a curve, first set up your plane lines with your anatomy. In this example, I am drawing a curve through the mandibular arch. Click Draw Curve and perform a series of clicks around the arch. At any time, double-click the last point to finish the arch. The software will automatically take you into the Section tab to view your anatomy. See additional videos in our Academy to learn about the Section tab. In the Tools section, you will find many valuable tools to use in the software. The Measuring tool. Click it and start your measurement with one click on the start point and one click on the ending point. Then the numerical value appears on the screen. Multi-length allows you to have several stopping points and measuring the length at each point, and also total length. Click Circle Measure icon to measure the radius of a circle. To measure an angle, click on the Angle icon and click 3 points to measure an angle. You can also measure with a multi-angle. To measure a volume, such as measuring estimate bone density, click the Volume tool here and select Sphere Type. Move the box out of the way of the back images and put your sphere over the area you want to measure. Use the small boxes to get as close as possible to the edges. Then take your slider here and move it down so it just encompasses the area you are going to measure. Here is your volume CC. The Profile tool allows to measure bone density across a line. Click the icon and draw a line to measure the density. Here I am drawing it across a tooth. See the graph to view the density. The Memo tool allows you to put text on your images. Ideal for taking a screenshot to later show the patient. Click on the area where you want the text and type your text in this memo box. Presets are above this for commonly used words or phrases. These can be changed in your settings. Annotation tools below this include Free Draw, Arrow, Line, and Square or Circle. Additional tools below this include Manually Draw Canal. To manually draw your canal out, first align the axial, sagittal, and coronal to enable the best view of the canal, which is the sagittal view. I will then maximize the sagittal window and click Draw Canal and single-click along your canal. Use the scroll wheel to move the position buccal or lingual. Double-click the end point to finish. Next is Extract Tooth. Click here and select the tooth you wish to extract to remove it. Next to this is the Sculpt tool. Let's say I want to remove the mandible on the 3D render. I'll maximize the window and simply start clicking around the area you want to remove and click Delete. The last button here is the Data Manager. This is the area where you can manage objects you may have overlaid onto your 3D scan, such as STL models or other objects. Finally, the segment data area shows or hides anatomy that has been segmented. If your scan is not yet segmented, click the gear icon to start segmentation. Thanks for being a valued Vatech family member.